Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. I'm here with my log, continuing to explore Twin Peaks. I watched the Lynch films, and I watched the whole of Twin Peaks, from Fire Walk with Me, The Missing Pieces, and the Return. So, yeah, season 1 was amazing. Season 2 started off well, got derailed by the network. They got back on track, but they didn't get season 3, partly because the ratings had dipped a little bit. And there was a sense that the magic was gone, because the thing that kept everything together was Laura, and the mystery of the lodges and everything that was behind Laura's murder wasn't quite what sort of had captured the general audience's sort of attention. The fans loved it, but I think they could have gone on with her third season. Now, we never got a third season. What we got was The Return, and I just remember the first time I heard of The Return, it was going to be Twin Peaks season 3. It was going to be a young female FBI agent who went back to Twin Peaks to try and uncover what happened to Dale Cooper, because he just disappeared apparently, or something like that. And it was going to be a very conventional way into the town, much like the first season, a little bit of a reboot in that way, but it was going to hold true to everything that happened in the first season. It all happened first and second seasons of the whole series. But they were going to have someone come in, and they were going to uncover all the things that Cooper did, as well as, him and what happened with him, and it was all going to be explored. And it sounded amazing, and I was so excited. It was supposed to be an 8 or 10 episode limited event series, and I was so excited about it. And then we heard Lynch had walked, because apparently they had told him, this is not a David Lynch film, this is Twin Peaks season 3, so we want Twin Peaks season 3, people want Twin Peaks season 3, we're paying you to make Twin Peaks season 3, make Twin Peaks season 3. And he said he got all Diane on them, and he walked out. And then they're like, we can't do it without Lynch. If Lynch walks, no one's going to take this seriously. And I think most of the actors probably said, we won't do it without David. So, the goose that they'd already, killed before, they killed it again. So they brought him back and said, okay, take our money, do whatever you want. Just, give us something in episodic form to sell afterwards. So we ended up doing, I think it was planned to be less than 18 episodes, but it ended up being 18 episodes, because that's just how it ended up, because that's just how he did it. And everyone's all excited, because they're like, oh, this is 100%, pure Lynch, like pure, just, and it was really unfair, because there was this idea somehow that Lynch was what created Twin Peaks and made it great, and it was Mark Frost and the networks and everyone else that took away from it and ruined it, when really it was Mark Frost and David Lynch together who worked on a very originally conventional mystery series. Lynch brought a lot of interesting elements into it, but Frost kept it together, and the other writers and directors kept it together. And even though they got a little lost when they tried to emulate Lynch when he was stepped out for a bit, when he came back in and all that, it was working. And that's what we really should have got for season 3. But what we got was the David Lynch film, kind of set in Twin Peaks, split into 18 episodes, basically, or 18 parts. And I was very harsh. I had real trouble with it. I felt betrayed. I was very upset with David, because he knew what the fans wanted, and I don't think he should have accepted the offer and taken the money if he couldn't do what he was being asked, which was Twin Peaks season 3. But he got all, auto artist about it, and was like, this is my vision, I created it, this is what I want to do. I can see a vision of this, and I can do that, but that's it. I can't make Twin Peaks season 3 for you. So if you want this is what it is. And they didn't really have a choice. It's not like they could have done Twin Peaks season 3 without him. So yeah, I wasn't happy with Lynch for years. But because I watched it, I got Stan. It was, I think, the first time I had a streaming series. I bought a Chrome thing so I could actually stream it, because I had only been watching DVDs and videos. Stopped watching videos years before that, but on DVDs. So it got me into streaming, because I couldn't wait. Other things I was waiting for them to come on DVD or on TV later, and that, but I could not wait for this. So I watched it like the day it was released. I went to the pop-up R&R diners and everything. I had cherry pie. I went to events and everything, and it was great. And the first couple of minutes was great. And then, yeah. I don't know what to make of season 3 for the most part. I mean, of the, I can't call it season 3 because it's not, of the limited event series, because people don't call it Twin Peaks Season 3, they call it either the limited event series or the return. The elements that just seem unrelated, that just seem to be about Lynch just doing his thing and going like, well, I think we should have this and it should look like this and be this, and I think this is interesting as this. And there was no one to say, but how does it relate to this? How is it part of this? There was no one to rein him in. I think Mark Frost had resented this idea that Lynch was Twin Peaks. And he's like, oh, you want 100% pure Lynch? Like, I'm the person that's like obstructing him? Fine, I'll let him just run wild and see how you like that. I really feel like that's what happened. I feel subconsciously, maybe not deliberately, Frost just let Lynch go as sort of like a validation for what he wasn't given credit for the whole time in Twin Peaks. That's my theory for why and how we ended up with The Return, the limited event series, The Return. But so there are parts of it I hate. Dougie, my God. Now, I just said I watched Twin Peaks Season 3. I watched an edited version of Twin Peaks Season 3, or The Return. Some kind child of God basically has put online, I'm not going to tell you where to find it, just all the scenes from Twin Peaks, the town, and the things that directly relate to Dale Cooper returning and the lodges and everything. And it's 8 episodes, and some of them are as short as 20 or 27 minutes. 2 of them are about an hour and 5 minutes, and the rest are 45 to 55 minutes. So it's about half of it's just gone. So I cannot give a full review of The Return. I haven't watched the whole series complete since I bought it on DVD, because I watched the whole thing week to week. And my God, some of the episodes were painful. You were just sitting there like, just desperate for any little piece of Twin Peaks or something that resembled Twin Peaks, and you just sit there for minutes while things just went on. I'm like, there was a real torture and resentment, I think, for some Twin Peaks fans. Some people who love Twin Peaks for the David Lynch elements and love his films were fine for it. They loved it. Other people who wanted Twin Peaks Season 3 were like, who weren't as familiar with Lynch, like pure Lynch, I think struggled with it. I don't think it was just me from what I've heard over the years. But just all the Dougie stuff, the stuff from Las Vegas, and I just am happy to just forget about it. So I watched the whole thing week to week. I bought it on DVD as soon as it was released in the UK, and then I bought it again in a box set in Australia, and I've got it on Blu-ray and video of DVD twice. But I think I skipped through it, because you could with the chapters. I just skipped through and watched a bunch of scenes in various episodes, and then sort of watched the last episode again, and then I put it down, angry, disappointed, upset, betrayed, and just let it rest for a good, when was that done? 2017? So I've just thought to watch it now. I was thinking a month or so ago, maybe I should watch Twin Peaks. I was watching Alfred Hitchcock. I'm like, well, you need to watch the David Lynch films you haven't seen, like Inland Empire and that, which I still haven't seen, but the plan was to see them, and watch these other films some of them I've only watched once. And then it's like, you're going to want to watch Twin Peaks if you watch the films. And I wasn't sure, do I watch Twin Peaks? Then I was like, I have to watch Twin Peaks, so I watched it. But I debated, do I watch The Return as a whole, or do I watch this other version which I know exists, which is only 8 episodes and just removes all this stuff. I feel I don't want to just dismiss it artistically, but so far as in relationship to Twin Peaks, the series and that, I don't need to watch it. But that said, just watching these scenes, I enjoyed it so much more. Just in a more condensed version, I realised that there was a lot more Twin Peaks in The Return than I remembered. Without all the things in between, the scenes with, Norma and Shelley, and like the whole thing with Albert and Cole and all that was all fine. I was fine with that side of the story, because it was all part of the overall mystery. But other parts just seemed to be just in their own world and their own universe, and I had no interest in them. But I really did enjoy The Return a lot more in this version. And there are parts I really, really enjoyed, and I was like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. This is great. Had every episode been like this, or had they just totally separated the stories out, like where you have episode 8, which I believe is the one with the atomic explosion, and so much of it is just, they could have just had some of the storylines as their own little mini movies that related to the overall, and kept a couple episodes just purely in Twin Peaks. I think that would have worked better, but who am I to question David Lynch? But alas, I watched a compromised version, one that David Lynch probably would not be impressed with existing, but it was how I could enjoy it, and I loved it, and I will watch it again. I'm probably going to have to sit down and watch the whole thing again too, so I don't forget the parts I've missed, because some of them, they do relate to the rest of the work. It's not, they're not totally self-removed, separate and self-contained and everything. But yeah, I've been talking for 11 minutes. This is supposed to be a 10-minute video at the most, but it's complicated. But I just really wanted to share my experience with Twin Peaks and just see what other people feel about Twin Peaks and watching it, because what I find really weird and disturbing is how many people are obsessed with decoding Twin Peaks and will make multiple podcasts speculating like they know and uncovering this mystery like they've just discovered the key. And they're fools, because there is no one mystery, there is no one story, there is no one answer to Twin Peaks. It was written by Lynch and a bunch of other people, directed by Lynch and a bunch of other people. It's spread over a pilot, a small series, a longer series, a prequel movie with sequel elements, and then a revival series, as well as a bunch of books and novels and just a bunch of fan speculation, which is interesting in and of itself. But the idea that these people think that it's all one thing they could uncover, and they're so clever, and they're so just the arrogance to think that they could work out what all these artists were thinking over all these years of production, and they could all work it out and answer it, and they just sit there so smugly thinking that they've worked it all out. And it's like people who can't create resent it or fear it, and they have to. A lot of critics have this issue. They feel like they have to, deconstruct it and dismantle it and destroy it, because they can't create. They can't create mystery, so they have to explain it so they can feel okay with it, because they can't create something like that, so it can't exist, and that can't be there if they don't understand how it was made or how it sort of makes sense. So I find there's an element to Twin Peaks fandom that is heavy on this. Some people just want to get lost in Twin Peaks and explore it, and that's fine, because Lynch created something that you can get lost in. He didn't give those answers. He created things that don't have answers. Now, part of me resents that a little bit, because it's like, even if I can't be sure I've found the answer, I want to be able to look for it and know there's something there that I can find. To know that some of these questions, they just don't have answers. They were just designed that way. They're just traps to fall into and get lost because people like to. That's good on some level, because I do enjoy the series on that level in some way. But it does make it feel a bit pointless on some level, in some way for me. Now, I understand there's sort of two audiences for Twin Peaks. There's the people who love like traditional mystery, who just sort of put up with the other stuff, and then there's the people who are Lynch fans who feel like Lynch was held back and he wasn't able to really create the Twin Peaks he wanted, because he had to keep in these lines and all that. So it's sort of a bit of a duality to the fan base, and what I really find weird is, like I said, the people who just feel a need to dissect it and feel a need to like conquer it and say like, I've worked it out, I've got the secret. Like, no, you don't. You never will. Just deal with it and just enjoy it. And that is a little harder, like I said, because you never really feel like, is this real or is this just a joke? Am I being lynched, or is there something here that I'm finding, I'm uncovering, or is it just the experience of this sort of joke on us all as an audience? I don't know. And the people who try and read it different ways, like as a diegetic metafiction, all this stuff. I mean, it's just, you could read anything that way, but it doesn't mean that's how it was created, what it actually is. The artist's original intention, plans, that's what something is. no amount of reading on top of that can make something it wasn't, or more complicated or more cohesive than it originally was. So some people who endeavour on this, uncovering, decoding of Twin Peaks really are just wasting their time or doing something for their own ego. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, what your experience of Twin Peaks: The Return was, anticipating it, experiencing it, working it out, living with it. And I'm going to go.